If they feel like they should prismatic ending this amulet, they're going to be in for a nasty, hasty surprise. Assuming we don't top deck the Boros Garrison or the Slayer's Stronghold. Please, neither of those two lands, deck. Anything but those off the top. And this is why we play Saga on turn 1, people. This is why we do it. Hello and welcome, everybody. We are here for match 4 with the list you see on screen. We are currently 2-1, so this might be the difference between letting us get 4-1 or 3-2, or just train wrecking the match here and just losing the next 2 matches straight. Either way, regardless, I feel like we will have learned something and gained something, so I'm fine with whatever the result may be. But, of course, in order to figure out what that result is, we have to jump into the match here, so I will see you guys in the games. While we are waiting, by the way, if you are not familiar with the deck list that I showed before, then you need to check out match 1, where I go into detail about all of the card choices and everything that you need to know. And also, while I'm here, I noticed that all of a sudden our previous record has become 2-0-1 in these matches. It's very strange, and the opponents are gone. I've never seen that before. It's probably because Magic Online just did an update today. Alrighty, let's hop in here for the match. On the draw, sad times. Playing against Death Note 1999. Death Note's a pretty good anime if you've never seen it. And we have a turn to explore hand. We have Garenbrig to speed us up a bit, and we already have Titan mana ready to go. Double Sunner's Pact is not the best, but it's not the worst. But we don't have an Amulet. I mean, admittedly, depending on the matchup, a turn 2 explore, turn 3 3-drop into turn 4 Titan would potentially be good enough, but... And I mean, I feel like this hand is a reasonable keep, but I also feel like there's very little damage done by mulliganing down to 6, and especially since our opponent hasn't revealed Lurrus, I'm not really expecting discard spells, so I'm going to see if I can find something a little stronger. We have a turn 1 Saga hand. I wish we had a green source to slam this Grazer into Saga on turn 1, but... I mean, if we top deck any green source off the top, then we can explore on turn 2, so I think we are supposed to keep this. And the question is, what do we bottom? Dryad is going to be important in letting us get to Titan if we can't top deck a couple lands, as our Saga will set us up with an Amulet. We could bottom the Talari West, but if we miss on a land for the next 2 turns, then we won't have anything to play on turn 2 after we play Saga on turn 1, which may not be the worst thing in the world. I think I'm inclined to bottom the Talari West here, but we'll see what we draw. I just can't stand to let go of Explorer, you know? It's just such a good card. How could you possibly put that one on the bottom? Our opponent leads on turn 1, Windswept Heath, pass. Interesting. Second Saga is not bad. I mean, we're going to lead on a Saga here and pass it back, of course. Windswept Heath, pass, huh? I don't really know what that might indicate. My first thought is like Niv to Light. We see Ketria Triumph. I suppose it could also be like a Scapeshift sort of strategy, like one of those 5-color Dryad, Omnath type Scapeshift decks. We do see Wrenn and 6 as well, so maybe that's what we're up against here. It could still be Niv to Light. Alright, top deck. Green source. Titan. Well, we're playing Saga and passing, I suppose. Next turn we'll be able to play the Gruul Turf and play Dryad after we have searched for an Amulet off of the Saga that's about to get gone. Could potentially even cycle Explore if we wanted to. It wouldn't be too late for us to top deck an untapped green source. That would still be pretty good for us. I guess we're just hoping to dodge our opponent having a mainboard unmoored ego if they are, in fact, on Niv to Light. I feel like it's more likely that this is like a Scapeshift deck of some sort, like a Bring to Light deck. I haven't seen Niv in a while, but you never know. There's Teferi Time Raveler. Getting a Saga bounce is horrendous for this hand. Now we really need that untapped green source off the top. Nope. Alright, I mean, we don't have a choice. We gotta play Saga and pass here. That Teferi was actually devastatingly good. There's not a whole lot of cards in Game 1 that can actually interact with Saga, but Teferi is one of them, so... And we do see Dryad, so like I said, this is probably just some sort of Bring to Light strategy. Not surprised here. Wonder if they have a 5th land to play. Oh, of course, they can get it back with Wrenn and play the fetch. Makes sense. Well, I mean, we got some catch-up to do. Let's go ahead and stack these Saga triggers. We'll float here and sacrifice it to get an Amulet. We can put Titan into play here if we play Gruul Turf, Azusa, Turf, Grazer, play Turf again, play Titan. I mean, that seems like a good choice. We can attack with it, and then on the attack trigger, we get Valcut and a bounce land, pick up a land, and play Dryad post-combat. Seems pretty good. I mean, I think attacking with a Titan here is going to be better than anything else we could do, so. Here is Azusa. Gruul Turf. I guess they could have a Bolt, perhaps. I'm not sure that these decks are super big on Lightning Bolt effects, though. And I suppose doing this also plays into Path to Exile, but I find it more likely they're on a bunch of prismatic endings, so I'm not really super concerned about Path here. Maybe I should be, but we could also just get lands to play Dryad right off the jump here and not go for the attack, but I don't know if that's really a winning line, if I'm being completely honest. And I think we just have to keep the Gruul Turf in hand here. We can't pick up the Saga. As much as I'd like to leave lands in play. Yeah, I think we probably just have to attack and accept that Path to Exile will kind of ruin us. We'll still be able to cast Titan this upcoming turn regardless. Alright, let's haste the big guy. So far, so good. We'll pick up the Stronghold and leave mana in play. I guess that could have been a mistake. Maybe we were supposed to pick up the Garrison. I don't think it would have made a difference. But we might need 2 land drops to be able to haste this Titan this upcoming turn if this one is not still in play by the end of this turn, but we'll see. I think we should swing at Rin and try to get Rin out of play. We could just swing at them. I mean, we don't want to let Rin get to an ultimate, although I don't right now see any issue with them ulting Rin because they don't have anything in their yard that's relevant, but when in doubt, I like to attack the Planeswalkers and try to get our opponent's cards out of play. I think that makes reasonable sense. Say yes to this one. And here we'll set up a Valakut and a Growth Chamber, I suppose. Sure. The complicated part is going to be what land do we pick up, because we kind of want the Saga to net a second Amulet for us this upcoming turn, so. I think we just pick up the Garrison, as strange as that is. And then I guess we can play Dryad and then Stronghold. We could even cycle Explore here if we wanted to. See if they want to block and save the Rin or just let it go. They could have, like, Bring to Light for Supreme Verdict here, in which case getting the Rin out of play, if at all possible, is going to be the best choice. And they do choose to block, right? Well, do we want to play around Supreme Verdict by just playing the Explore here? I don't see a huge reason why not to. I'm going to go look up a example list for this deck and see what kind of removal they play real quick. Okay, so I am here with an example deck list. We might have to worry about them bringing to light out a Valky to answer our Titan, so we might want to go ahead and just commit to the board here, but they also have Supreme Verdict as well. It doesn't look to me like they play Path to Exile, so I don't think we need to be worried about that in the future. They do play Fire and Ice, which is something to be considering. If they have Bring to Light, we're going to be got either way, because they either put a Valky into play, or they Supreme Verdict us. So, I guess with that in mind, I think we might be able to beat a Valky if we don't commit the Dryad. So I'm just going to Explore here. And if they have Supreme Verdict, they probably have to cast it anyways. We'll go ahead and put the Stronghold into play here. We'll pass. If they just Bring to Light out a Valky and kill our Titan, then we can slam Dryad, play land, and then do a Valka trigger to take care of the Valky. So I'm not super worried about that. Of course, they uptick their Rin here. Oh, you know what I didn't realize is they can bring to light at instant speed thanks to their 3 fairy here, which is pretty annoying. Probably go to combat first before we do anything else here, I would imagine. Although I guess we do have to float with the Saga. The Saga going out of play means that we're not actually going to be able to get Dryad triggers necessarily. I guess we could play a Titan in second main phase and then use the Titan trigger to search for lands that cast Dryad and then be able to get up to Titan mana that way. Well, they just have Supreme Verdict in hand. That works too, I suppose. No reason why they shouldn't have done that at instant speed, I don't think, though. Let me see if they play counter magic of any kind. I'm not seeing counter magic, so we're probably just slamming here. They have ice. Tap the growth chamber. That doesn't matter at all, to be honest. Do we activate the Saga here? We can play Sanctuary, leave white floating, pick up the Sanctuary, play Dryad. Play Sanctuary a second time. Nah, that wouldn't work. I think we just let this go and float a mana with the Saga. Like so. We'll get an Amulet. We'll 5 to make sure we don't have any yield set, and I think we should be able to kill our opponent this turn. It starts by playing Sanctuary, especially now that we've drawn the Grazer. It means that mana is not an issue at all. We might even be able to get 2 Titans into play this turn. Haven't done any math yet. Playing the Dryad is free, so I'm not gonna stress about doing math until I know for a fact that we've got all the things that we can play for free into play. And I guess we just pick up the Sanctuary. I don't see a reason not to. Here's a Dryad. I'm going to leave the white floating in case we can use it to haste our Titan. So if we play Sanctuary up to 7 mana, Grazer down to 6, up 4 more mana to 10, we got 11, so we use 6, leave 4 floating, we can transmute and cast a second Titan here. We might be able to leave red and white floating or something like that if we Grazer in the Garrison. I think this should be fine. I don't know the exact line that we're going to take. I'm going to kind of figure it out as we go, but all I know is that 10 mana is enough to be able to use 3 to transmute and still have 6 off of the Titan ETB trigger to play another Titan. That's basically what I'm thinking here. So here we'll pick up the Sanctuary, and we'll Grazer down Garrison, I suppose, and try to leave a white floating at the end of this line. Sure. Untap, float, untap, float. I think we're going to have to Vesuva the Stronghold anyway, so I'm just going to float the mana here. And we pick up, I guess, the Garrison? That seems fine. We want to leave green in play in case something just doesn't work our way. We have a lot of white floating. Alright, we'll yield here. We'll get Simic Growth Chamber, Talari West, and our opponent concedes. Okay, yeah, so the line would have been Simic Growth Chamber, Talari West, leave 2 white floating, and transmute 4 and play Titan. Titan ETB gets Valakut, Vesuva copying Stronghold. We haste both Titans and attack with both, and then we'll be getting a ton of Valakut triggers. So, pretty elementary from there. Alright, so against our opponent's Bring to Light Valky deck. Let's go look at the deck list one more time. So, because of things like Dryad and Omnath, I think it's possible Dismember could be reasonable. I don't know that I want to rely on it too much, though. I'm not super in love with that. We do have to worry about our opponent being able to use Bring to Light to have something like Unmoored Ego. They have Wear and Tear that we need to worry about, and Aether Gust. Alpine Moon, perhaps. Run Insects and Teferi. I don't think we want explosives for these effects. These particular Planeswalkers. They do have Scapeshift, of course, so that means that we need to be worried about killing them as fast as possible so they don't get up to enough mana to be able to just Bring to Light out a Scapeshift and end the game on the spot. We could try Veil of Summer, but Veil of Summer doesn't really protect us against Prismatic Ending or anything. It would only... It doesn't even do anything against Aether Gust now I'm thinking about it, so maybe Veil of Summer's not great. Ghost Quarter doesn't seem super relevant either. They do have Chalices in the main board I saw, so maybe Foundation Breaker makes sense. I don't know that I want Force of Vigor for that. I think we could probably trim the Bajuka Bog and just call it a day. It's not the type of matchup I was expecting not to have a whole lot to bring in, but this doesn't seem bad. We could have a couple Dismembers specifically for Omnath and Dryad. I think we could trim a Cavern. Probably not a Grazer. I think the speed of Grazer is relevant. Although, admittedly, we don't want to be flooded on them. One Grazer will likely be enough to do the job. Just call it like this. I'm fine with that. And we, of course, will still need Saga here, despite the fact that they have things that can answer them, because if they do have a way to answer our Titans via Unmoored Ego, then we need additional ways to try to win the game here. And this hand is not particularly fast, so I think that we can go ahead and safely mulligan this one. I have to admit, I haven't played against 4-color Scapeshift a whole lot here, so we'll mull. We have a turn 1 Amulet, we got a turn 2 Explorer, and we have Dryad ready to go. We just need to top deck a Titan and a bounce land, but we don't even necessarily need a bounce land. We can just activate Garenbrig to get there, so we'll keep this for sure. And I think I'm pretty inclined to just bottom the Cavern here. I'm not expecting Counter Magic to be a huge factor. And the Tolari West we could potentially transmute for a missing piece. I think Cavern is likely to be a strictly worse basic forest here, as it doesn't activate Garenbrig either, so I'm just going to bottom the Cavern. And we'll lead on turn 1 Amulet here, of course. They have turn 1 Explosives on 1. Okay. I mean, if they want to blow up this Amulet, that is a-okay with me. Won't stop us from casting a turn 2 Explorer anyways. Which is another benefit of shipping the Cavern over the forest, is this also lets our Garenbrig enter untapped. See if they decide to pop the explosives. We did find the bounce land as well, by the way, so this hand is already shaping up to be quite good. Their explosives on 1 takes care of our Amulet, but I mean, like, whatever. Okay, we'll explore here. Probably just putting Valakut into play. If we play the Growth Chamber and play land, play Dryad, leave a blue floating, we can't, like, transmute Tolari West after we play Dryad, so I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll just play out a tap land here and let it go, because that's the same thing, essentially, as playing Growth Chamber, except Growth Chamber potentially exposes us to some kind of land hate. Our opponent has Explore, maybe? Or Wren. I guess it could be Wren, uptick to get back the Heath, play the Heath. That wouldn't be bad. It is Wren, okay. Securing their land drop here, of course. Alright, we'll draw. Sanctuary. That one's not bad. Okay, so we're just going to be playing land here. I think it's okay to play out Stronghold and then play the Dryad here. And then play land after. Of course, we're doing it in this order because if our opponent has Path, if we had just slammed Dryad and then, like, led on Sanctuary, for example, they could respond to the bounce trigger and Path our Dryad, and then we wouldn't get a second land drop, so it's important to play a land before we play the Dryad here. Yeah, I think just playing out a bounce land is fine here. Next turn we can go land, and have Valakut triggers. If we played Tolari West now, the next turn we could play land twice and have 2 Valakut triggers, but I think I'd rather be able to transmute, so we'll play out the Growth Chamber here. Again, setting up blue mana for that transmute, if at all possible. We'll pick up the Stronghold and leave our green mana in play for activating Garenbrig, potentially. Let's see what our opponent's got here. Abrupt Decay. Valky. Interesting. Just the creature side, huh? Well, we were right to think about playing around Tybalt. Obviously, our opponent does have access to that. They did not get to choose anything from our hand, like a creature card of some sort. Alpine Moon, probably naming Valakut, I would assume. This just makes our Valakut a rainbow land, but no Valakut triggers, of course. Not as if we needed them. We could even transmute Tolari West to get Summoners Pact, and then Pact for the Enchantment Destruction guy, Foundation Breaker, and kill the Alpine Moon, and then still get Valakut triggers. So, if we absolutely wanted to get Valakut triggers here, we could. Of course, they named Valakut. I mean, that's not a bad choice, but I don't think it's a great choice either. We'll see. What do we top deck? Second Tolari West. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I don't necessarily see a reason not to. I guess if we transmute for Summoner's Pact and also cast it, that means we can't potentially transmute or cast a Titan this upcoming turn. Like, if we transmute for the Summoner's Pact now and don't cast it, and then just plan to cast Titan next turn, I mean, that's pretty good. I wonder if our opponent just blocks with this Tybalt anyways to save the Wren from taking the 4 damage here. We could play the Stronghold, use these 2 to activate it, and still have 3 to transmute, and even be able to play a land after, so I think probably just waiting on the Summoner's Pact is going to be better. That's the feeling that I'm getting, so we'll go ahead and play out both of our land drops here, and we'll float a red and a white for activating Stronghold, of course. On the Dryad. Here we'll pick up, I guess, just basic Forest. I don't see why not. We'll float a blue here and 2 here and transmute. We'll get Summoner's Pact, of course, and we'll go ahead and swing at their Rin again for the same reason. There's no reason to leave Planeswalkers in play. We might not be able to guarantee we're getting Valakut triggers if we never answer the moon, or, you know, we might not be able to keep the Dryad in play and that kind of thing, so we'll just do what we can. I'm a little surprised they didn't block with the Valky, to be honest. Play Bring to Light here, perhaps? I guess we might not want to yield, depending on what they're gonna Bring to Light for. Cast with 4 colors, okay. I mean, at least it's not hitting a Scapeshift, that's great. Ooh, they're getting Dryad. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Very interesting that the Alpine Moon actually doesn't affect their Valakuts. I was not expecting that, that's for sure. Well, it's probably good that we didn't pack for Titan here. We might just be dead to Scapeshift this upcoming turn anyways, but... Or we might top deck an Amulet and be pretty A-okay. We'll just have to see how it goes. They swing for 2. You got it. Alright, we'll top deck. Saga. Do we play Crumbling Vestige in this list? I think we cut it for the second Cavern. This is another time that not having Crumbling is strictly horrible for us, because we could have left a white floating, activated Garenbrig, Titaned for Crumbling Vestige and something else, and floated a red, and then been able to Stronghold our Titan. And be able to haste and attack immediately, but we don't have that. We could pack for a Dryad and play it. And have 4... We play land 1 for the turn. Pack transmute and pack 4 Breaker and kill the Alpine Moon, and then have land number 2 and get exactly 1 Valakut trigger. And we probably just lose our Titan to them having another fetch land or something. Weird stuff. I think just putting a Titan into play is going to be the best choice, but it's not clear. And if we go for a Dryad line, they could also just have Prismatic Ending or something to blow out the Dryad, so I don't think we have a choice but to play a Titan here. So we play a Titan. I guess we play land. Activate, leaving a white floating with the Garenbrig, we can still haste. So we can still haste here because we have a land drop. Haste and attack them, perhaps? For 8? Doesn't really do much. Again, we probably want to just go after the Rin. That could be wrong, though, in this particular case. Oh, actually, we know they have a fetch land because they plus Rin to get it back, right? Yeah, so they have fetch land ready to kill whatever we play here. Well, we could just go for a double tightening them. I don't know how we're going to tighten them this upcoming turn unless we top deck a Summoner's Pact or a Titan, but... Actually, that may not... No, I think that probably works. Unless they have double fetch land exactly, and they play fetch, and then they hold up both fetches as an answer to our Titan if we play another one. And there's just not a lot of great options. I think our only real option is to go for the Titan this turn, so... We'll go ahead and start by pacting. I think we want to play Saga here, trying to get Amulet out as fast as possible, assuming that we're not just dead to Scapeshift. We'll go ahead and activate, leaving the white floating, like I said before. We'll play the Titan. Let's just go ahead and haste now. Alright, we'll search. What are we getting here? So if they have double land Scapeshift, which they could do easily since we know they have fetch in hand, they can get it back with Rin. They could get 6 mountains and a second Valakut, and that would be 6 times 2 is 12 triggers for 36 damage. Oh, we'd be taking more than that because of the Dryad as well. I guess play fetch twice is already 4 triggers from Valakut. Interesting. So I don't think Radiant Fountain is going to do anything here. I mean, we also have to pay for Pact, so... See, we pay for Pact with these. We need to get enough green sources to activate Garenbrig, for 1, so that we can top deck a Titan deal to haste it for potential lethal. So I guess Breeding Pool is a pretty easy choice, because it'll pay for Pact or Transmute to Talari West. And the other one, I guess, could just be Fetch Land in case we top deck Dryad, so we could Transmute for Pact, blow up the Alpine Moon, and then use Valakut for Dryad triggers. That gives us an additional top deck, perhaps. I don't mind Fetch Land, I guess. So we'll go for those. And we'll not pay the life, of course. Swing at them, because... I guess, actually, swing at the Rin denies them an extra land drop. But it also means that we can't just lethal them with Valakut if we get a Dryad into play. If we swing at them for 8 and put them down to 5, then 2 Valakut triggers is lethal, so we could play land, and still have Fetch Land to crack. Let's see, we pay for the Pact trigger like this. We leave blue, and 1 floating, cast Dryad. I think we should be able to do all of that despite even having a Pact trigger. If only we had a second Fetch Land, we could attack and get second Valakut, second Fetch Land, and then we'd just, or even just having an additional Valakut at all would be helpful, I suppose. So yeah, I think we're supposed to attack them and ignore the Ren. It could be wrong, but alright, we'll swing. Say yes. Here we'll get second Valakut, so our Fetch Land by itself could be lethal in response to a removal spell. And again, I don't think Radiant Fountain is going to be necessary. Oh, we could Vesuva our Fetch Land, actually. So we have a lot of things covered. We do have Forest to fetch for. Yeah, we can Vesuva the Misty Rainforest, and that works, I suppose. Hopefully our opponent doesn't just have an additional Valakut here, or like Bring the Light for Scapeshift or something weird. They're at 5. I don't know, we'll see. We are trying our best. They have a second Valakut. Alright, well. It's 2. Fetch Land is another 4 triggers. I might just be lethal. Yeah, this is just lethal. Dang it. Alright, well, we tried. We gotta draw the top card and see if we would have gotten there. Growth Chamber. I think we already had gotten there because we have enough to pay. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we pay 4 down to 6, transmute, have exactly 3 to cast Dryad, and play land with double Fetch Land up. So if they didn't have lethal this turn, we actually could kill them next turn. Thus is life. Alright, so... I mean, that went pretty well. I'm still not convinced we want explosives for specifically Rin. Dismember is looking alright. Maybe we do want Dismember specifically for Dryad, as that's like their only real way to interact with Titan, I suppose. Especially if they're bringing to light for Dryad, that makes sense. That we would want Dismember. We could trim and Explore, as it's not the super fastest, but I don't mind Explore. And we'll just run it this way. That Alpine Moon kind of got us, huh? Right, we'll be on the play. Maybe we should be playing Force, actually, because it hits their Dryads. Didn't even think about that. Well, we get turn 1 Saga, turn 2 Explore, and the Saga will set us up with an Amulet, and we have Bounce Land ready to go, so, I mean, this is as snap keep as it gets, I suppose. Without actually having a turn 1 Amulet in hand. We'll lead on Saga here, of course. Trying to get Amulet out ASAP. ASAP fast. Instantaneously. Into play. I'm just messing around. Alright. Garenbrig ain't bad. We'll play this Forest. We'll play this Explore. An Amulet, huh? Well, we might just have lethal this upcoming turn. If we play Garenbrig, Amulet, the next turn we can float, get a second Amulet into play, play Bounce Land, activate, cast Titan. Let's see. If they Prismatic Ending Amulet, I guess we're still going to want Garenbrig so we can activate it. through single Amulet, so we definitely should be playing Garen Brig here. We'll play the Amulet and pass. Give them something to target, and it doesn't matter because we can resolve Titan anyways, so... If they feel like they should Prismatic Ending this Amulet, they're going to be in for a nasty, hasty surprise. Assuming we don't top deck the Boros Garrison or the Slayer's Stronghold. Please, neither of those 2 lands, deck. Anything but those off the top. They have Turn to Explore. And they do have Prismatic Ending, it looks like. Yep. Alright, well, we can haste and attack with a Titan through this. So that's nice, as long as we actually float the mana. And we didn't top deck either of the important lands, so we are good to go. We'll play out the Growth Chamber here. And this is why we play Saga on turn 1, people. This is why we do it. You gotta anticipate that it can come to this. And we'll leave a bounce land in play here, so we have as much mana as possible. Activate, play Titan. Haste and attack with said Titan. There's Garrison and Slayer Stronghold. We don't even have a pack to pay for here, so... It's looking pretty good for us. We'll pick up the Stronghold, I guess. Swing, and of course, so we need to set up a Talari West in case they have an answer for our Titan that's already in play. And the other land doesn't matter quite as much. We have Valakut ready to go if we top deck a Dryad, so I'm not inclined to get second Valakut here, really. Could just be a Saga. Or it could be a second Talari West, even. I don't think it really matters. I'm just going to pick up Saga because I feel like it, to be honest. I guess maybe getting a fetch land could have been good, too. That way we have an extra blue source in case we need it. This lets us hold up Dismember, of course. Alright, we'll just pass it to them. If we get to attack with this Titan a second time, we can just search up Sunhome and something else, and... Exactly, our opponent concedes the game. Well, that was a pretty awesome match, I'm not gonna lie. I actually really enjoyed that, and hopefully you guys did too. If you did, then leave your support in the comments below. Leave a like, comment, especially subscribe, although I have to admit, the vast majority of the people who watch my videos are subscribed, and I thank you guys very much for that. Thank you for being part of this community, and if you're not part of this community, then you just don't know what you're missing. So, yeah, we are currently 3-1. I will see you guys for the final match. This is Redface Menace, signing off.